In every county is a treasure house of wonderful records for those interested in local history and genealogy. In the archives at the Historic and Cultural Society of Clay County, you will find a wealth of information about the people and places around the county and the changing community we live in.
We've got about 350 linear feet of materials. If you stacked up all our stuff in end, it would be a stack 350 feet high. There's just overwhelming amounts of information in there. Lots and lots of cool stuff.
These have seen better days, but this is a register of deaths for the city of Moorhead for the 19th century. The information recorded includes the date of death, the full name of the person, their sex, color, marital status, their age, place of birth, the cause of death or the disease that the individual had, place of death, and the names and birthplaces of the deceased's parents. A couple things really stand out when you look at these old death records. One is the ages of people here. We did a study of the death records a number of years ago, and we found that half the deaths in Moorhead in the 19th century were children 12 and younger. These are young people dying, and you have to wonder, what were they dying from here in Moorhead at that time? And we look into the cause of death, consumption. That's tuberculosis today. It was the leading cause of death in Moorhead in the 19th century. More people died of tuberculosis than anything else. So many things that people died of in the old days that we can fix like that with antibiotics today. It was really tough to be a kid in the old days. Newspapers give all sorts of great information here. I just happened to see it, just happened to be on this, October 2nd, 1924, for the Moorhead Daily News, and a headline says, First car, sugar beets left Moorhead. The sugar beet industry was just barely getting started here in the Red River Valley in the mid-1920s. Here we have documentation of the very first car, sugar beets, coming out of Moorhead. Many people are interested in doing research on the history of their homes or their businesses, and we have a number of resources we can use for that. We have a complete set of city directories for Fargo and Moorhead going back to the 1880s, and I think of those, they're kind of like telephone books on steroids, just all kinds of information in city directories. Sanborn fire insurance maps. These are highly detailed street maps that were drawn of cities all over the country from the mid-1800s to the mid-1900s. And they were designed to provide fire insurance companies with detailed information about individual buildings so they could set their rates accordingly. This is all gone. All gone. Everything north of Center Avenue and west of A Street, essentially, except for the old American Legion building up here, Usher's Restaurant today. Basically, everything was taken out. In 1973, Moorhead's Urban Renewal Project, 93 acres was one of the largest in the country per capita. So for a city of the size of Moorhead, it dramatically changed downtown. And this would be very helpful for researchers today trying to understand what downtown Moorhead looked like. Well, these are materials from the Thortvedt family collection, and they were extraordinary documentarians. The whole family was, particularly Orabelle Thortvedt. She not only kept a daily diary for many years, her father did as well. This is his diary from World War I. It has a little cramped handwriting down here. And at the end of each year, Levi, Orabelle's father, would write up a very brief description of what had occurred during the year, during the base of the year. And this, he's talking about 1918. And he says, disease known as the Spanish influenza, as long as I have lived here, many deaths in and out of the county and all over the world. We are afraid, and it ain't over yet. This is one of many scrapbooks that was put together by Orabelle. She called this one her old biography scrapbook, and she wrote up stories about people that she knew, relatives that she knew, or other people from her community up there. Drew pictures of each of them, sketched them in the scrapbook, and then wrote down detailed information about the individuals. And she was not afraid of going into real detail about and her own opinions about what people were like. And it's another great, extraordinary volume. Photographs. We've got tens of thousands of photographs, many different photograph collections. We have the negative collection of a guy named Sylvester P. Wang. S.P. Wang worked on Hawley from the 1890s up through the 1940s. And we have about 14,000 negatives that he took down there in Hawley. About 10,000 or so are studio portraits. We have about half of those identified. So if researchers come in looking for information about their family, if they had relatives in eastern Clay County, we always go to the Flayton Wang Index and see if we have photographs. And it's a good chance that we've got photographs of their relatives in that collection. All of our collections are open to the public. We don't charge anything for anybody to come into the archives. We can scan most of the materials. And hundreds of people every year avail themselves of their services coming through the doors. Many, many hundreds more write, or more likely these days email. We'll help them with that.
Prairie Mosaic is funded by the Minnesota Arts and Cultural Heritage Fund with money from the vote of the people of Minnesota on November 4th, 2008, the North Dakota Council on the Arts, and by the members of Prairie Public.